What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood podcast. Jonathan Hood. Right next to me is youth pastor Cousin Wiley. You're watching on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for J Hood Radio. My man is wearing a Mitchell Trubisky jersey, but he has the long sleeve collared shirt on, the checkered collared shirt on. So, youth pastor Wiley, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, Cuzzo.
Look, could you explain the outfit? It's so funny. We're both wearing jerseys. I'm wearing a Vince Evans vintage number 8 jersey, and you're wearing Mitchell Trubisky. Which one of these things is not like the other?
MT10. It's all about MT10 today. It's all about him. He is my Bears hero for this week. So I had to wear the MT10 jersey because he put the Bears on his back. And he's going to helped lead us to promised land, with an amazing game last Thursday. So the shirt is usually, before we do the show, I get a chance to come in and, kind of wind down a little bit. So I didn't get a chance to do that. So it was like, okay, let me just grab this Trubisky jersey, throw it over the shirt and get ready for the show. Obviously, the youth ministry is near and dear to my heart because Pastor Andrew, there's no one I know who loves the Lord more than Andrew at all. A woman would probably say it's the cutest thing, but it's the funniest thing. But no one loves the Lord more than Andrew at all.
Really?
Anywhere. No, so not even possible.
My cousin, your son, is someone who loves the Lord. Well, actually, for a little guy, that's adorable. And why not? Why not him being a pastor? We have business owners in our family. We got a halfway decent broadcaster in the family. All these people that work with kids. So why not have a pastor? You got a basketball player in the family, a professional basketball player in the family.
Yeah.
Why not have a pastor in the family just to put a bow on this family?
Yes. So he's going to ask you about Jesus Christ one day. Just be prepared for it.
Okay. I will.
Just be prepared, but he'll ask you a question about it.
So this is not like going through stats for the Bears to try to prepare for a show. I got to be prepared for passages in the Bible for young.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'll make sure I'm prepared. I'll stay away from him until I'm actually ready. Got to familiarize myself with the Old Testament. I know he's got some stuff for me there. Don't forget, we have got merchandise as well. Check out the merchandise. It's in the bio of this podcast on YouTube as well as on the podcast where we get your podcast. We've got merchandise like the Under the Hood t-shirt, like Cuzzo has. Smells like the Lady of the Night or the First Lady of the Night.
Yeah, it smells like success.
Yeah, it smells like the Lady of the Evening, or the First Lady of the Evening, since you're dressed like a youth pastor. So we've got t-shirts and also we've got the water bottle as well.
Yes, the Under the Hood water bottle, which is one of my favorites. Put anything in here, whether it's alcohol, water, juice, whatever you want to put in here. It's going to be nice and cold. Many hours later. It is great to carry around. You don't have to worry about. It's good for the environment. If you're one of those people who care about the environment, it's good for the environment. And it's a great gift to have. And it's just something you're going to use daily. So get yourself an Under the Hood water bottle and pour your favorite beverage inside of here and enjoy the holidays with Under the Hood.
Alcoholic and non-alcoholic, right?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And then we have my favorite, which is the Under the Hood tumbler. As I've said many times, my tumbler came with Watts cash. Yours may not. I cannot guarantee that it will have Watts of cash in there or not, but it just may. So you can pour for your morning coffee in here. You can put a little whiskey, a little bourbon, something inside your morning coffee. Give it spice it up a little bit. It's the holiday season. You may want to even go with the Tom and Jerry for the holiday season inside your Under the Hood tumbler. But get yourself one of these and get your spouse one of these as well, because if you have a spouse, your Under the Hood tumbler will become hers. So get you one, get her one as well. So his and hers tumblers for the holiday season.
Yes, it's always good to have that. You have sex, you need water right afterwards, so you want to make sure that you're refreshed right after your things that you do, right?
Absolutely,
Right at the bedside table. Make sure that you're fully prepared afterwards.
Yes,
and that's
here's the hair washcloths.
Well, that's next. That's next.
Yes, yes.
Just for the bedroom or for the car, depending on where you are.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
But that merchandise is available. Great holiday gifts for you. Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Tell people about your favorite podcast, Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We've got a lot to talk about today, but first, Cousin, I want to know about your weekend. I've not spoken to you outside of our Bears chatter. So how was the weekend for you?
So I spent last week recovering from whatever illness I had. You know, I laid down, I took a nap. I did a few other things, you know, to try to cure my illness. It eventually needed a little antibiotics. Not that type of antibiotics, but
yes. You know, the antibiotics, you know, by the way, her name was Linda. Go ahead.
Yes. So I just pretty much hung out at home, watching television, watching games, and then obviously, you know, watching the Bears on Sunday. How was your weekend, Cuzzo?
My weekend was fine. My weekend started Thursday, actually.
Okay.
So after the Cap and J Hood morning show, where you guys can find me on ESPN 1000 and on the ESPN Chicago app, I'm on every morning with David Kaplan, my broadcast partner. Took a flight and went from Chicago to Atlanta. And that sounds like fun, right? A little ATL, a little Buckhead. Yeah. I was there for 30 minutes and had to take a bus with the UIC Flames basketball team to Jacksonville, Alabama. People thought
Alabama.
They thought I was going to say Florida there, but Jacksonville, Alabama.
So, now, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes away from Atlanta. That's where Jacksonville, Alabama is, because there's no airport. So that's the nearest airport to Jacksonville, Alabama.
So how many married siblings did you see while you were in Alabama?
I wasn't counting. I had my eyes.
Many you couldn't count, huh? Too many to count.
I just didn't want
too many to count.
The Clampetts and everybody else, you know, with married siblings. I didn't want to deal with that. Here's the thing.
Did you take your Stun Down pamphlet with you just so you can be safe while you were down there in the good old state of Alabama?
Oh, you've got to learn. You got to be able to have this just in case you need this. Sundown Town.
Nice.
Books. But okay. So we're on the road. We get off the plane and we get on the bus. The bus takes me and the UIC Flames to Jacksonville, Alabama. But we can't get there right away because going through Jacksonville, Alabama, you got to go through some of the towns in Georgia and definitely some of the towns in Alabama, and it's a 2-lane highway. I mean, for stretches, not 4 lanes like we're used to, because we're so comfortable here in the big city. We get 4-lane highways or more. No, 2-lane highway. For about an hour, we're stuck on this 2-lane highway. And on the right side of the highway, as we come to find out an hour later, they're just working on the roads. That's all, just working on the side of the roads. Like, okay, so you're going to tie up traffic at 7 o'clock at night. And by the way, you know, for someone like me or you,
yes,
you look to the left of the bus, and it's these tall, skinny trees. You've been to the South? The tall, skinny trees. And there's no lights there, but you could see the silhouette of the tall trees and just tall grass, right?
And ropes.
And well, I believe I saw that, but I wasn't really sure, Wiley. I'm just telling you. So we're there for an hour, and so, you know, I don't feel like I'm ever claustrophobic, but there's a such thing of being claustrophobic when you're stuck on a 2-lane highway and there's trucks around you, right? You know, as a longtime driver, especially long trips that you've taken, where it's just like you and there's just trucks and you can't get around it because you're boxed in. You can't get around because there's a truck, and you just are just stuck, and it's kind of like you can't see in front of you, you can't see behind you, just trucks, right? And you just have to be patient. You know, at least I wasn't driving the bus. I was one of the passengers like the Flames were, but just kind of like, you're just sitting there. You're like, what's going on? Is there a deer in the road? These are small towns, Anniston, Alabama, all these small towns. And it's just kind of like, okay, we finally get there. We started to get closer to the city and or our destination, and I saw something I have not seen in about 10 years. And that, my friend, was Crystal Burger. That's one.
Okay.
I saw that. I saw Crystal Burger. Weird thing about Crystal Burger, though, the one I was in Jacksonville, we went past it. Dark around there, no cars. Lights were on, but dark. Now, usually at a fast food place, there'll be cars wrapped around it. You're trying to get there. Not then. Nothing. Quiet. So we weren't stopping there. But here's one thing that did happen that I enjoyed. I had not seen this since Peacock and I went to Myrtle Beach many years ago.
Okay.
About, I would say 250 yards from the hotel where we were staying in. I'll tell you about that in a second. Was a Bojangles. You ever had Bojangles chicken?
I have not, but I've heard of it. I
Brother,
have not had it.
Brother.
I have to treat myself. Okay.
I mean, if nothing else, the biscuit and the pinto beans. All right, so a couple things with this. We have not had this, I haven't had that in about 12, 15 years. Last time we was Myrtle Beach, I think 15 years. And it's 200 yards. When we pulled in, I was like, there's a Bojangles. Damn, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. Because the next day, I'm like, might be time for some lunch.
Yeah.
Go to lunch and walk over to Bojangles. There's a little woman that's behind the counter. And she said, "Hello, darling. What would you like?" And I said, "Well, I'll take a 2-piece and a pinto bean and a biscuit." Dude, we have not seen these in fast food places in a long time. You know what she did? She took the long microphone right next to the register. It's like, that'll be 2 pieces and a biscuit and pinto beans right up, please. Thank you. Now, there's only 2 people in the whole place. I haven't seen a mic in a fast food restaurant in a long time. The announcement, because everything now is with headsets or just like whatever, right? Or computerized.
She told him, "Bless your heart."
Yeah, she's got on the loudspeaker like she was in church and just like announced order. I'm like, I ain't seen that since the 90s. Pretty good. So 2 piece and a biscuit and pinto beans right up, please. And they just got
the South doesn't like to let some things go. They like to hold on to a lot of things. So I'm not surprised they held on to the microphones from 20 years ago.
Small town, that's kind of thing. So similarly to when we were in Myrtle Beach, I'll tell you the Myrtle Beach story, and I will equate it to what happened to me a couple of days ago. In Myrtle Beach, when we saw this place, we got into the line. And the lady said, "Okay, I need you to spin around and go back around here, the drive-through, and then by the time you come back around, your Bojangles will be ready." Why can't you just give me right there? Like, we're for the big city. It should be up and ready to go. When I give you the money, I'll move up to the next window. It should be ready.
Right.
No, in the South, they're just like, "Hey, I know there's 4 cars that's behind you. By the time you come back around, your food will be ready." All right, fine. We're on vacation. No big deal. We get our food, and she hands me a box, right? 8-piece, a couple of biscuits. She's like, "Here you go." She hands me the box. I said, "Ma'am, do you have a bag?" She goes, "A bag?" Yeah. She was hot. "Yeah, I'd like to have a bag, please." She's like, "Okay, I'll get you one. Thank you." Fast forward to Jacksonville, Alabama. I get my order of Bojangles, and she says, "Thank you very much. Come in." Hands me the box. I go, "Ma'am, do you have a bag?" She goes, "A bag?" "Yes, a bag." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I have one right here." Like, what are you, anti-bag at Bojangles? Like, what's with the anti-bag? Like, do you expect me, Wiley, to pick up the box of chicken and like it's obviously hot underneath the bottom, grease, whatever?
Yeah, it's dripping out. Yeah,
but so I learned that, I guess, from 12 and 15 years ago, they still are anti-bag, or you have to request one to be able to get your order, which is very odd.
That's part of the experience.
A bag. That's what she had. So there you go.
I love your Southern accent.
That's what she said. She's asked me, "Do you want a bag?" She said, "Bless your heart. Thank you so much for coming." I said, "Well, thank you, ma'am." Only thing is, I didn't have time to go to Waffle House, but maybe next time. But Jacksonville, Alabama. small town, 12,000 people.
Okay.
And obviously Jacksonville State basketball and football and athletics is the only attraction in town. And it was just like it was in and out. The kicker to the story is the UIC playing on the broadcaster for the plane for 11 years. We won that game, and one of the fans came up to the table and said, "Hey, nice game. You guys be safe going home now."
Oh wow.
Oh
wow, that's
yeah.
That gets the heart pumping a little bit.
It's not.
The juice is flowing.
Yeah, because it wasn't just like him saying, "Hey, nice win. Be safe going home." It was the head nod and the lean in. That's what got me, right? It's like, you guys be safe going home now. Like that's that good old boy talk. Crew cut, horn rim glasses. I'm like, okay. He thinks that we're driving, and I'm like, nah. We don't have a rental car. We're just getting back on the bus, which is 7 minutes away from this stadium. I just thought that was like it wasn't the good old, happy you guys are here. Just like, y'all beat us, so y'all be safe going home now. That thing. I'm like, all right, there you go. Thank you. Jacksonville, Alabama, man. I tell you, I wish I spent more time in Atlanta, but we spent most of the time in a bad Wi-Fi area in Jacksonville, Alabama. Not the greatest Wi-Fi, but we still made it through.
You could have got you some of those chicken wings from Atlanta.
I wish we would have stopped. I heard they're magical.
Yeah, they are.
So that's my
finger trip. Looking good.
That's my trip, and so there'll be more chronicles of that. Right. So we'll have more of that coming up. Because we got to talk about what happened on Sunday because it's a miracle. It's a miracle. The Bears have back-to-back games.
Before we touch on that, we talked before for the game last week, and I told you that the Bears would win it outright. So we had a wager that the Bears would win outright, and I would get some Old Taylor if the Bears won the game outright. Unfortunately, they didn't have Old Taylor in the store when I went to collect on our wager, but I tried to send Andrew to the store with a note to get me a soft pack of Cools, but they wouldn't allow him to get the cigarettes anymore. I'm not sure what's changed, but
it's not the 80s. I think that's what's changed.
Yeah, give my son a pack of cigarettes, but I got the next best thing. Oh, granddad! So this is just for this show right here. When I probably haven't drank any of this since I was like 3 years old. So for this show, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to have a drink. And I like my alcohol neat. I don't like any chasers or anything in my alcohol. So this is,
okay. Oh my God.
There we go.
That is a double.
So we're going, oh, granddad, this, whatever reaction you see, if you're watching it online, whatever reaction you see, this is authentic because I literally haven't had this in a while and since forever. And I am a straight whiskey drinker. So is this whiskey, old granddad? Smooth.
Oh, is it smooth? Really?
Smooth.
Okay. If you fall down, we'll know why it's not so smooth. We understand if you do fall off this podcast, that's because that thing. Now, could you hold the bottle up for our viewers? And again, if you're listening on the podcast, we want you to be able to check us out on YouTube as well, youtube.com. Bring it in a little closer, Cuzzo. I want people to be able to just drink it in, if you're pardon the expression. Old Granddad. Now, who is that white guy in the bottle right in the middle? Is that supposed to be Old Granddad? That's him, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that 120 proof or 100 proof?
This is just 80 proof. So maybe maybe I got a lesser brand, but yeah, this is just 80 proof right here. But it's this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that cures cancer. And it does.
I don't think that says
it. It does. It's somewhere in the fine print right here. You just gotta look on the back, fine print right there.
I don't think it says that it cures cancer. I don't believe that's the case. Oh my God. Okay, now you're making me thirsty. Now I want some of it. You all right?
I'm surviving right here.
Yeah.
So granddad.
Yeah, that's child's play there because that's 80 proof. I need.
It was in.
Huh?
It was in my formula, so I could be perfectly fine with a little old granddad. Hood.
Yes.
I don't know when the last time I've had that, but I'm sure when I had it, I was a lot younger and probably stole it. But
of course you stole it.
That of course. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, that is that's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste.
Why don't we just have an old granddad party? Like that'll be the only spirit. Like only drink old granddad because I know that the stuff is cheap.
So Hood, when I went to the store, I went to Benny's too.
I figured
probably should went to Kenwood, but I asked.
You all right?
I asked Max. It's like Max. Hey, I'm looking for a certain type of bourbon. Can you help me find it? So I said, "Oh, Taylor." He was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Max, you don't know what Old Taylor is?" So I pulled it up on my phone, and he said, "Sir, I've worked here for 13 years, and I've never seen that bottle before in my entire life." And I said, "You've never seen this bottle right here?" He's like, "No, sir, we don't have that here, and I've never seen it before." So I was offended, as a black man, I was offended by the fact that
as a black man,
I was offended by the fact that Max had never seen an Old Taylor bottle in his entire life, and I grew up with Old Taylor bottles everywhere around me most of my life. So the fact that Max had never seen it, I was a little bothered by that, but we settled for the old granddad, and not bad.
Cuzzo, did you say you get that from Benny's?
Yes.
Wait, this is the same Benny's that tells you if that's not here, it's not worth drinking. That's their tagline, is it not?
They're liars.
Kevin Hart told me they had it though, and the people from Breaking Bad told me that they had it. All those guys in the commercial said if it's not at Benny's, it's not worth drinking. Wait a minute.
So I'm sure Kenwood would have had it, but Kenwood I would have gone to is no longer there because we won't speak of what was happening there a few years ago.
George, go ahead.
I was doing a play-by-play via text a few years ago. I was like, look at what they're doing right here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Look at this right here. But yeah, we won't speak on.
So you didn't go to Oak Lawn? I mean, that one's still up, isn't it? The Kenwood Liquors in Oak Lawn.
Yeah, I just said I didn't feel like I didn't know if it was going to be authentic enough for me, even though the Facebook page said it's still the same. Like my heart is still on the one in Peel Hill, so not seeing that one there, it's just
sad.
It's not the same.
No, it is sad. That is for sure. But so now I feel like I should have something, but I don't have time to go down the Hood Cave to get it. So, but I find it fascinating. You got old dad, but no old killer. So
because I am I'll have a drink for you, cuz
okay.
I have a drink for you. Just for you.
Okay. It's funny. Funny you gave a double because usually, every weekend you always go deeper than 3 fingers. So I just
of course. You gotta So, that's just a Saturday night special though.
Yeah, depending on who you meet, you usually go 3 fingers. But
absolutely.
But nonetheless, we turned out to the Chicago Bears and their victory against the Lions 2 in a row. It is a miracle. The first 2 in a row ever in the Eberflus era. And I know that Bears fans are uniting and celebrating that, hey, the Bears were able to win a ball game, and let alone back-to-back games. It's not just that they won the game, Cuzzo. It's the way that they won. This is the most balance that we've seen from the team in quite some time. Maybe the Washington game earlier this year. I just want to give full flowers to the defense. His defense has been strong and damn near dominant for the last 2 months. And then on the other side, there's Justin Fields that ran a lot. Still not perfect, but made some plays when he needed to and was outstanding, made some more times than not as far as his decision making.
So watching the game, like I'm going to be a little, I guess, a Debbie Downer. I was pissed. I didn't want to win. Like I wanted a good showing. My perfect game would have been for Fields to have a really solid game, defense to play really well, and then in the final minutes for the team to wet the bed. You know, just enough. You see the potential, but then there's a loss at the end of it that helps secure a draft position. Now I want all wins now because like I still had visions of pairing a rookie quarterback with Marvin Harrison Jr. and those dreams are over after the Sunday win. So now from here on out, just win every game, beat the Packers, beat everyone on the schedule. Let's finish the season 9-8, and even possibly fight for playoff spot because there's no chance of pairing a quarterback with Marvin Harrison Jr. Also, I am still on I watching the game. I saw a defense talent-wise that is damn near elite. Tweak a couple positions, but they're damn near elite. And then on offense, we saw the same thing I think we've seen for the past 3 years, where Justin Fields does enough to satisfy both sides of the debate. The people who love Justin Fields, they can point to say, "Hey, look at this pass he made. Look at how a defensive end can't simply sack him with one arm, sometimes two arms, because he's so strong. He breaks free and he, makes explosive plays. When the play breaks down. But then you also have the people who, like me, who haven't been Justin Fields fans, point to like, hey, he can't see the field, and he leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to passing. So you had a game on the offensive side where, regardless of how you feel about Fields, you had something to feel good about. Like you love him, he gave you something to feel good about. You hate him, he gave you something to feel good about. So I wanted a game where if you love him or hate him, you won. You got everything you wanted. If you love him, you can say, look at what he just did. He had this type of game. He had that type of game. Or if you hate him, he sucked. He didn't suck or he wasn't great. He was good. Or mediocre if you want to just, be an asshole. He was mediocre if you want to be an asshole. I look at a guy, again, who has been in the league for 3 years.
Yeah.
A tremendous, by far the best, as talent-wise, by far the best quarterback that has put on the Bears uniform in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Talent-wise. But then I look at the results, and I've seen a guy who has been in the league for 3 years. He has 2 games in his career where he's thrown for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco just rolled out of bed
literally
a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
literally. And his last 2 games, he's had over 250 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, some of this is because of personnel. Some of it is on Justin Fields, though. If you want to put it all on Justin Fields, that's fine. Then your decision is made that you should go with Caleb Williams and a young quarterback. All I'm telling you is that the reason why that Justin Fields fans feel justified or feel like, hey, give him another opportunity is because of how this all was set up. I mean, last year there was no opportunity because this was a tank year. And so for some, and again, this is for some fans, hey man, he wasn't going to win anyway because look at the roster. This year, though, there are no excuses because whatever you want to say about the offensive line, it's not great. I don't know if it's ever going to be great, but it's getting better. You got DJ Moore, the receiver. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got Darnell Mooney. So you have weapons here. And so whether or not you feel handcuffed by Luke Getsy or not, point is, though, is that you have the autonomy to audible. You have the autonomy to be able to orchestrate this offense the way you want to. And it's still not perfect. And again, there's some throws that he made, Wiley, that was just like, wow, the connection to DJ Moore on fourth down, right? On a free play, he gets that touchdown. I hadn't seen that. Usually he puts it in the dirt. His whistle. You look at Cole Kmet. You look at Darnell Mooney. I mean, he's got weapons there. So, but there's no excuses, but yet he was hurt. And I still feel at times he's learning on the job instead of being an advanced quarterback. And that's the difference.
So I am still in the camp of fire everyone. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, look at what Eberflus has done with the defense. They're playing great. I don't know how. My view of it is I'm a Ryan Poles fan. I've been a Ryan Poles fan since he arrived in Chicago. I think he's done a hell of a job turning over the roster in a year and positioning the Bears to have success going forward. So I am a huge Ryan Poles fan. I me that a competent coach can hire someone to coach a defense as good as Eberflus has done.
Mm-hmm.
You can't convince me also that Eberflus is a good head coach, great coordinator, good with the defense, but not a great head coach. So in my world, you're turning over, you're firing the head coach, obviously, which means you're firing the coordinator because Gatsby sucks. Or Gatsby, if he doesn't suck, he is mediocre at best. And if you fire the coach, the coordinator, you also have to replace the quarterback. So I think Fields still has value because, again, you look at the talent, and even someone who's been a critic like me, I can't deny the talent. The talent is, you see him throw the ball, you're like, that's elite. That's an elite throwing arm. That's elite athletic ability. He is as physically gifted as any quarterback you can possibly see in the NFL. It's just there's some disconnect here, and not because he's Trubisky. He may be like a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
He's a smart kid. There's just still something he just doesn't get that you would hope that a guy at this point in his career would get, and he could get it next year. And I'll be like, fuck, I was wrong. We should have held on to him for another year. You know, who listens to me? But I look at an opportunity to draft a quarterback who could be elite at the top of the draft with a rookie contract, and I say, okay, do you want to gamble on that opportunity that Fields could finally figure it out and become the guy who the talent says he should be? Or do you want to get a guy who should be that going forward, whether it be Caleb Williams or Drake May? And I say Caleb Williams or Drake May. Well, I actually say Drake May or Caleb Williams. But whichever way you want to go, even if it's a Bo Nix or a Penix.
It's not Penix. It's Penix. Go ahead.
We're going to say penis. You know that. You know how it looks. We're going to say penis.
Unfortunate last name, yes.
Whatever it wants to be, whatever Poles decides to do, I'm on board with. I just don't know if I'm Ryan Poles if I want to say, hey, I want to gamble my career on Justin Fields. And that's whatever he does at quarterback, he's going to be gambling on that guy, whether it's Fields, Nix. So if he decides for Fields, fine. I'm going to hop on board because I'm a Bears fan.
Yes.
But me personally, I want something where I can say, okay, a guy who rolled out of bed hasn't been more productive than our franchise quarterback. And I know that the idea is you can quarterback proof the roster where you put so much talent on a roster, the quarterback doesn't matter as much. In my opinion, we've lived with that my entire life and yours as well. I want a quarterback who is the reason we're winning, not because we're winning because of him. I mean, in spite of him, or we're winning with him. I want something better than that.
We had a caller this morning on Captain J Hood, and he laid his feelings out there saying that the Bears have to be more than just running the football and playing great defense, because that's been the case forever. Before we were born, that was the calling card for the Bears to be able to do those things. The offense has to be vertical. There's two ways to look at this. Number one, when it comes to Justin Fields, there's flashes. There's flashes of Grilly. There's flashes of a great throw to DJ Moore or to Cole Kmet. But as front office executive have said to us, flashes get you fired.
Right.
Flash, he has the ability. Yeah, the ability doesn't necessarily mean wins. And so I can understand where a Fields fan says, you know what, just keep giving up opportunity. But it's about business, man. You can bring him back in 2024 on a deal in which It's another prove-it deal. It's an option year for the Bears, and bring him back. But here's what we're missing, and that is the consistency of Fields. Like consistency of, man, another 300-yard game, but they lost. Or, boy, another 300 game, and boy, he was terrific. Or 2 or 3 touchdowns, and boy, he knows how to be able to connect his receivers, where it doesn't look like a raw talent. After 3 years, you'd like to think that the quarterback is in a groove and doesn't look raw. And you know the difference between the genuine article, like the real quarterback, and someone who has raw talent. Justin is still running for his life, even though that wasn't him in college. He had 12 carries for 58 yards in this game against Detroit. And again, you love it because he was able to get a first down. He got a touchdown out of it, but it still opens him up for injury. And so what the rubber meets the road is, you say, I want Justin Fields to be the quarterback next year. And because you're going to have supply him with even better weapons, a young offensive line help, probably more weapons, you could do that. Or you can reset the thing and say, here comes Caleb Williams. And you don't know whether or not Caleb Williams from the jump is going to be able to help the Bears, especially as the Bears get better. See the difference? The Bears are at a certain level. They could be this year's Lions. I don't know. Like, Lions came from behind. They were 9-8 and didn't make the playoffs. The Bears could be that. Imagine being a almost ready team to be able to win, but yet the quarterback is young and still learning. Like, I can't tell you that Caleb Williams is C.J. Stroud. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But for me, like, that gamble was something that I would rather take, because you don't get many opportunities. Few teams other than Jacksonville I can think of recently have had 2 number 1 picks in back-to-back years. And they got Greg Walker and after they drafted Trevor Lawrence, you don't get that opportunity many times. So this draft coming up to me appears to be a really great draft talent-wise. Whereas last year, there was a lot of questions at the top of the draft. Is Bryce Young too small? Can he, be a franchise quarterback? I think the answer on that may be no, right now. And then there was questions about C.J. Stroud. Ohio State quarterbacks don't play well. And
Trayvon Walker, by the way. Not White Sox first baseman Greg Walker. Trayvon Walker.
Right.
I think you've been drinking. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's have another one then. Let's have another one.
White Sox first baseman Greg Walker.
Let's have another one.
He's playing the Sam linebacker position for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right.
At least on our podcast, you got to be somewhat accurate. You got to be in the ballpark.
We're gonna blame it on the old granddad. Right now. All right. Okay. But yeah, so you don't. I think that this draft is far more talented than the draft where Walker was drafted in. So when I look at this draft, I say, okay, I see what Ryan Poles did last year. That trade set the Bears up for a lot of success in the future. Whether you think C.J. Stroud is the next Patrick Mahomes or not, you can't convince me that having DJ Moore, having Tyreek Stevenson, having Darnell Wright, and then having a future first-round pick, whether it be Marvin Harrison Jr., whether it be Caleb Williams, whether it be Drake May, is a worse option than just C.J. Stroud. I'll take that haul that Poles put together over C.J. Stroud every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Mm-hmm. So when I look at that, I say to myself, do I want to pass up on an opportunity to draft another quarterback? Because even though, again, you see the flash, you see enough Fields that can pull you in and say, okay, like, I've been a Fields hater for years. You know that. We've had debates about my hating of Fields for a while. Mm-hmm. But even I admit, talent-wise, there's been no one better in a Bears uniform in my lifetime as far as talent. But talent doesn't always lead to results. And for me, it's like, do I wait for the talent to lead to results when I have the opportunity to draft a potential difference makers like Caleb Williams or Drake May, or even Marvin Harrison Jr.? Well, I guess if you draft Marvin Harrison Jr., you keep Fields. Or do I, trade Fields for a first or second round pick to Atlanta or to another quarterback needy team and then get my own quarterback if I'm Ryan Poles. And if I'm Ryan Poles, I want my own guy. And I know Ryan Poles has hugged Fields and tossed him around like he was his child or whatever else. But I don't know if I'm him, I want to bet my career on Fields. And if you're going to keep Fields, you're betting your career on Fields because it's unlikely you'll be in position to draft another quarterback in 25 or 26.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to be able to pass up on the quarterback class twice. And again, people say, well, you go to the second round, third round. That's not the point. Point is, though, is that people believe that Caleb Williams is the guy, like will be the talk of the draft. It will be talk of the season next year, whatever team he goes to. I just think the Bears, yes, they could trade those picks, the first and fifth, and be able to get a haul back. But are you sure that Justin Fields is the guy? I have a source that tells me that Ryan Poles at this moment, as we talk on December 11th, has no idea what he wants to do with the quarterback situation. That's why I learned of it. Like I thought that he would have someone in mind, like a direction. I mean, the season's going to be over here pretty soon for the Bears, and he still is not really sure exactly the direction he wants to go in. And I think that's fascinating. So I want to ask you this part of it. So it's the Browns coming up here with Joe Flacco coming off the couch, literally, and helping this Browns team. This is, I think, their fourth quarterback that they've used this year.
It is. Yeah.
So the Bears have an opportunity to play spoiler, Cuzzo. So what's your gut reaction? Like, you weren't sure if they could beat the Lions. I thought that they beat the Lions. That was my prediction on the radio. I thought that they could beat the Lions because the Bears were close to beating them at Ford Field. Now, Browns, what do you think?
So I believe the Bears will win against the Lions. Like I actually put money where my mouth was when it came to that actual game. But when it comes to the Browns on the road, I'm not sure offensively what the Bears do will be good enough to beat the Browns on the road. I've seen the Browns give a far more talented 49ers team hell. I've seen the Browns give pretty much every team, the defense give pretty much everything they faced this year hell. I'm not sure Getsy and Fields can hold up to what the Browns have to offer. Now, there's a chance because I think the defense, the Eberflus runs, could create enough problems for a statue like Joe Flacco, where there's the potential for turnovers, there's a potential for, a lot of problems for him on Sunday. But if I was placing a bet right now, I haven't even seen what the line is right now. If I was betting right now, I would bet the Browns to win that game.
Really?
So, yeah, I would bet the Browns to win that game.
Mm. Now, what is it about the Bears that you don't think they can get it done? Because the defense has not slumped in 2 months, and I don't. Go ahead.
It's not a defense. It's just Drink Champs, the under the hood version of it.
Okay. Oh, my God.
So it's not the defense that I'm worried about. It's Getsy and Fields. Can they be good enough outside the first two drives? Because if I'm watching the first two drives, Getsy and Fields, they look fantastic. First two drives. Getsy looks like a guy you want calling plays for you for the next 10 years. The first two drives. Fields looks like an elite quarterback, at least in most cases with his legs, first two drives. But I don't know if beyond that they can deliver in a way that would help the Bears win a game. And we saw what happened last time Fields was up in Cleveland. What Myles Garrett did to Fields should have Myles Garrett in prison right now for the next 10 to 15 years.
That's because the Bears were prepared for that defense and not prepared for Justin Fields.
Oh, that was a nagging effect.
I've always said that, by the way. I've always said that when they pressed him into service, there was no plan to be able to help blocking. They didn't have an extra someone to chip. They had nothing. They just said, go ahead, kid, and without any real game plan, any real protection plan for a rookie quarterback at that time.
Hood, if I'm being honest right now, what happened in that game, for me, I think may have broken Justin Fields. Because what Matt Nagy did in that game was criminal. You put your rookie quarterback on an island, and you asked him to do things that you shouldn't even ask a second-year quarterback to do. but you ask a quarterback with zero experience to do, he got his ass handed to him the entire game. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that Matt Nagy is employed anywhere, after seeing what he did there in a game like that, to me is mind-boggling. And then even I guess obviously right now the magnetic effect is hurting Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City right now. But I think even with Getsy, I don't think highly of Getsy, but I think he's better than Nagy. I think even with Getsy, it's going to be a struggle for our offense to hold up against the Browns defense on the road. If we were at home, I probably would back the Bears. On the road, I can't back the Bears on the road because I still don't know if what I've seen is legit yet. Because the Bears beat a Vikings team who managed to score 3 points against the Raiders.
Yes,
they beat a Lions team who they kind of owned the last three of the last four matchups, but then they blew two of those three matchups.
Yes,
two of those four matchups.
The Lions.
So it wasn't like
the Lions were better. They were a better team on Sunday going in.
Yeah, they were.
But again, the defense was swarming against Goff. That's the difference. Like, to me, the Lions they're a playoff team. They've earned their position. It's just that the Bears seem like they have their number as of late.
So, and then, I think it goes back to quarterback, because if I'm looking at the quarterback position, Jared Goff has, on paper, been a better quarterback. But as a Bears fan, and as Pastor Wilson has always said, and I guess now Pastor Beatty says a little bit too now, it's in your mouth. So if I'm looking for a quarterback that I want a quarterback that's better than Jared Goff.
Okay.
So like Jared Goff is just a guy to me. He's not like anything special.
Okay.
So
all right. That'll be fine. I don't know. You're gonna get us thrown off of YouTube. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hood, you've been in the black churches, whether they be, Baptist or non-denomination churches, and you hear things, you know what they mean by them, but when you hear them, you're like, okay, it's in your mouth. I can go a lot of different ways with that right there. But I'm gonna keep it, PC. But yeah, you hear sermons. You hear the sermons, Hood. You hear the things that are said in these churches, and you're like, really? Your mind goes in the gutter instantly. But it shouldn't be in the gutter because they mean something different by it. But you're like, okay, yeah. And as a Valley member, I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, let's not. Okay,
yeah,
let's move on here. Okay, before you get into more trouble. Okay, and put the bottle down. Okay, all right, that'll be fine.
So, but no, Hood.
Yeah.
Like I want Patrick Mahomes. I want Tom Brady. I don't want just good. I don't want. I don't.
Hold on. Nobody wants to hear the church you go to. That's number one. Let's not go there. I don't want to hear Valley member. Let's not go into that at all. It's not right now. You're an embarrassment to the Valley. So would you just keep it down, please? This is a public forum. Everyone can see this. This is gonna last forever. And you shout out the church you're going to, and put it in your mouth and all that kind of stuff. What is the matter with you?
So, if I'm asking for a quarterback, I want something better than Jared Goff.
Okay.
So
right.
If I want a quarterback better than Jared Goff, based on stats, I want a quarterback better than Justin Fields. So in my mind's eye, I want Patrick Mahomes. I want Tom Brady. I want some quarterback along those lines where you're like, okay, you tell your grandkids, you know what? When this guy was drafted, I knew he was going to be whatever you want to make up the story, as an old man. But I want someone like that. So, yeah, like I see a Goff.
All right.
And I said,
Okay, that's it. We're moving on now because again, just put the bottle down for a second. You see what's happening? This is our family right here.
Right. This is it right here.
He's just talking about yes, and the quarterback, he's analyzing and telling everyone, yes, everyone would like to have a Tom Brady. Well, no shit. Yes, that's good enough there from Cousin Wiley. We move on now to something even more debaucherous, and that is this here. From I feel so left out. Usually I'm the one drinking. Like I'm here teetotaling with water, and this guy here is 6 drinks in on the if you're watching on YouTube.
I told you I was gonna have a drink for you. I'm drinking for you as well.
Can you believe this guy's getting drunk on the air with me? Nonetheless, we move on to Charleston White. Now, if you don't know who Charleston White is, he is a comedian. Now, you've told me about Charleston White as a comedian, have you not, Cuzzo?
Yes. So Charleston White is a comedian. He's also been an activist. He's someone who's done a lot of work for minority communities. He's probably somewhat more on the conservative side when it comes to his approach to or his view of things. But he's become popular recently because he's been more colorful in his approach. And by being more colorful in his approach, he's got more people to listen to what he's saying. He's probably been somewhat more controversial in some of the things that he said. But you have a video to play about something that Charleston White that happened to him over this weekend. So go ahead and play the video.
Yeah, so this controversial comedian performed in Crockett, Texas. This is this past Saturday night as part of a Christmas-themed event he was booked for. During his set, White allegedly questioned the validity of the 2020 NBA Finals. Looks like I've been drinking.
Right.
Led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis won the championship after beating the Miami Heat. This is a joke about LeBron and the Lakers. And we will warn you now, if you have kids in the room, remove them because this is some salty language here. So excuse the vulgarity, but we just want to tell you about this story of Charleston White. This is his actual stand-up routine in Crockett, Texas. Amazing there was a camera there. Amazing someone was doing that because in comedy clubs that I go to, you're not supposed to film. But someone had a camera to see this comedian, Charleston White. And again, excuse the what was being said here, but this gives you an idea of exactly what went down.
Has been severely attacked on stage. The incident will take place Saturday night at a comedy show that White was booked to perform at. It is currently unclear if White's attackers have a connection to him, but from the looks of the exchange, it appears that White's words with the man in the audience would trigger a response.
Talk right. I already got the back here. I already got the back here. I don't give a damn about getting known, nigga. I already got paid. You paid to see me, nigga. You paid to see me. Lakers, sheds, and wine ass, nigga. Pull out some money, though. Bitch ass, nigga, pull out some money. Pull up. I'll hit you on your goddamn head. Pull out some money.
Now, okay, that was a different angle. Apparently, several people were filming in the club. So, for our audio audience, this is Charleston White. He's on the stage, and he has a plant in his hand. A fan stands up because that fan was standing up for LeBron James, saying that the 2020 championship in the bubble did count, and Charleston White said it did not count. And so this fan stood up and tried to defend LeBron. And you heard the response there. And again, that's the salty language that was being said. Now, I don't know if this is the usual for Charleston White, but okay, so if I'm showing this for the first time, and this is the second time I've seen it, Cuzzo, so he's making a joke about LeBron in the bubble, that wasn't a real championship, all that. A fan in a Lakers jersey stands up and tries to defend LeBron. Now, I mean, Charleston White hits this guy with a potted plant. Like, so Charleston White's not going to get charged? I mean, based on what I've read so far coming into the podcast, like, there's no charges that have been levied by the comedy club or the guy that got hit with a plant by this comedian.
So, first, you understand, like, what Dave Chappelle experienced. So, Charleston White obviously is at the level of Dave Chappelle where he has actual security on stage to prevent something like that from happening. So over the past week, Charleston White had been on the Cam Newton podcast where he said a lot of provocative stuff about women, about the LGBTQ community, and some other sensitive topics. And he managed to avoid anyone physically attacking him. So Charleston White, is someone who, single father, who's done a lot of, community outreach when it comes to minority communities. He managed to say something negative about LeBron James and LeBron James cult, physically assaults him because he doesn't believe the bubble ship is legit. And just let that sink in. A guy saying the bubble ship isn't legit gets you physically assaulted, but you can insult Black women, you can insult the LGBTQ community, and no one physically assaults you. But saying one of LeBron James championships isn't legit and it gets you stomped on stage, it's just something, it's different. So
wait a minute, but okay, looking at what we just played, all I saw was a guy that was pissed off that this comedian Charleston White says that the championship was not valid. The guy stood up, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
It was security that was holding the guy back, and this comedian White waylays this guy with a potted plant. And then, of course, now the guy in the Lakers jersey gets up that got hit. He gets on stage and tries to start chasing after Charleston White. I don't know what the security situation was like there in Crockett, Texas, but all of a sudden that comedian ran off. I didn't see him after that, Charleston White. He ran to the back, and I guess people holding back. So I understand the premise. The premise is it's ridiculous that someone would be so upset about someone joking about the Lakers championship, bubble championship. But at the same time, I don't know if Charleston White is trying to defend himself as much as it is just like got his jollies off hitting this dude. Seriously.
So as as someone who has grown up in the same family as me, the first thing you have to strike first, because if you don't strike first, you may never get a chance to strike again. So you got to be the first one to strike. So I understand why Charleston White, threw the plant at him. But what you missed, because I guess your video further, Charleston White got stomped out. He was in the back, no security, getting stomped by multiple people because he dared to say something negative about LeBron James' bubble ship. So as a fan of basketball and as someone who loves comedy,
yes,
like that bothered me seeing like the LeBron James cult couldn't handle someone knocking his bubble ship 3 years after the fact. Like it's insane. Why can't you come to a comedy show? Why can't you control your emotions and understand that a comedian may say something that you may not like? And if he does say something you may not like, it doesn't give you a license to run on stage and stomp him out because he said LeBron James' bubble ship doesn't really count. Control yourself. I think what we got from this video right there is that LeBron James cult should have a little bit more self-control. They should be able to take a little criticism about King James.
Yes.
And control themselves. So like what is this? This isn't like 1856. You can't just go attack entertainers just because of you don't like what they're saying. This is why Dave Chappelle has beat up his security, because people can't take jokes. It's a joke. It's comedy.
Yes,
Control yourself.
I totally understand. So I saw Charleston White. He's been on a number of videos explaining why he got beat up. I'm not sure if his face always looks like that or if it got damaged in the fight. He doesn't look very good.
No, it wasn't much damage. It's just how he looks. It's how he looks.
Never. Yeah, I'm just looking at his hat. Never getting goals accomplished, and being ignorant, getting goals accomplished is what is on his hat. I'm looking at it. This video right here. Nonetheless, I just think that you are correct on the surface that comedians are not necessarily endangered species, but the idea that somebody has something funny to say and people are yelling at the comedians and trying to have a conversation with the comedians. I told you the last comedy show I went to was Eddie Griffin. You told me not to go. I went anyway in San Diego, and someone yelled out anti-Semite and just threw the whole show off, right? Because he's making jokes, and some are just not necessarily jokes, but political. It goes into that as well sometimes. Sometimes it's jokes, and sometimes it's like, I got to make this statement because it's on my, I got to get this on my chest, and some people don't like that. Eddie Griffin was called an anti-Semite. The fan was taken off, and that threw the whole show off for the last 30 minutes where he was going off on the guy that was already ejected from the show. So, yes, you are correct that you have to understand coming in, the comedians are just doing material.
Right.
If you take the comedian seriously, then that's on you. But this is where we are now today, where people cannot separate the artist from the art.
Yeah.
Fair to say? The art is, hey, I'm just telling jokes and I'm making fun of people just to make you laugh. And the artist is having fun with it because he's able to paint that picture, or she's ready, can paint that picture. So yeah, it is difficult. It's a slippery slope for today's comedians in this landscape, in this world we live in, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. I'm looking at this video. Yeah, there's something over his left eye. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. He doesn't look too good. He was stomped out, but he's up there still talking and laughing and talking about the money he's made. I know he's made money, not that much though. Okay, he's coming across hell like he's not. So
yeah, you didn't get paid enough to get your head stomped in, but at least to him, he got the first shot off. So he, obviously you're not going to beat 3 or 4 people stomping your head in, but at least you threw a potted plant, it landed successfully. So as a comedian, as someone who is fighting without security,
yeah,
you got a chance to, at least land a blow. And then you heard in a video, there's some woman put me up on the stage. She wants to stomp him too. Like what is going on with the LeBron James cult? The LeBron James cult is just insane. You have women. It's a family program. The guy is out here trying to feed his kids as a single father, and they're stomping him out because he dared to say something about the bubble ship of LeBron James. And it's insane.
In Crockett, Texas, of all places, right? It wasn't Cleveland, or it was in Crockett, Texas. Very strange. Lastly, cuz we got to talk about this. We put a bow on the show by talking about this topic, and this is something that came up on my Friday show on Cap and J Hood about the latest date you can break up with someone so you don't have to buy them a gift. Now, I will tell you that the girl that I was with before I got married, and before I got in a relationship with Peacock, we broke up a week before Christmas.
Good man.
But it wasn't even about the timing of it. It's just at some point you just get tired. At some point there is a issue, or there are differences that cannot be solved. And it didn't matter to me the date on the calendar. It just kind of at this time, we're done, right? And it just happened to fall the week before Christmas. And so there was no gifts. There was no going to, the ex-girlfriend's parents' house for the holidays. Once it's broken off, it's broken off. Maybe somehow, some way it can get back to where it needs to be. But more times than not, no. So you just move on. So I'm just telling you that that's okay. Now, do you have a story of a date, the latest date that you broke up with someone? I mean, do you look at the holidays and say, holidays are coming up, her birthday's coming up, great time to sever ties?
So I have to qualify all of this by saying that as part of the Cousin Wiley brand. Part of the Cousin Wiley brand is that you get a great experience. You can you can fill in the blanks however you like. So like, there's never been someone who has had a Cousin Wiley experience who, in the end of the Cousin Wiley experience, hates Cousin Wiley. They may be confused why it didn't advance to a different level. They may be confused at why it ended, but they don't hate Cousin Wiley because of the experience. They enjoyed the experience. And you've seen that. You've been around people who've had the Cousin Wiley experience, and there's nothing but hugs and and kisses. There's no hate, no animosity with Cousin Wiley.
Oh no, so, never any animosity. You give them a nice gift basket like Derek Jeter and send them on their way.
Absolutely. Uh-huh. So, like, while I haven't done Christmas, I did Valentine's Day one year. And Cuzzo,
yes.
When I say one of my friends who I stood up in his wedding, so I won't say his name because there's more than one. I stood up in his wedding, and one year for Valentine's Day, it was he and I inside a club, maybe a few more men, but it was a club full of women. Hood. When I say I could have did wrong if I was like blind or or had any other issues, it was the easiest night of my entire life. Where there's Valentine's Day, we're in a club, and there's no effort. Like, there's zero effort. Like, whatever you want is, at your disposal. So, like, he's married now. So occasionally we joke. I joke and say, hey, you know what? We should do the Valentine's Day thing again. It's an inside joke, but he understands it because he remembers the night. But as my belief is that if you are going to give someone an experience, the Cousin Wiley experience, you should be honest up front and let them know, what your expectations are. And as the great scientier Fabulous would say, it takes time to get from the backseat to the passenger. So if you're setting expectations and you're telling them, like, hey, this is what's going on, I think they appreciate that more so than if you just leave them alone and don't tell them the truth. So as someone who applies the wordsmith of someone like Fabulous to my life, I'm honest always. I'm always telling someone what it's going on. I lay out the expectations clearly, so there's never an issue when the holidays come around, because Christmas is important. If I spend Christmas with you, then you expect New Year's Eve. I can't do that. So if we're not at New Year's Eve level, you have to understand that we can't spend Christmas together. So you have to be honest up front with people, because.
And what's your honesty, by the way? What are you honest about? What are you saying? You say you have to be honest. What's the honesty that you're laying out to them?
So when you're laying out the honesty, you have to lay out the honesty and let them know what you're expecting. Because for someone like Cousin Wiley, at this point in my life, pretty much in general, I'm not looking for a relationship. So you're telling them, like, hey, if you're looking for a relationship, I'm probably not your guy. So you lay out the groundworks of what the experience is going to be, and you give them the option of what they're going to experience. So if they say, okay, you know what, Cousin Wiley, I'm at this point in my life where all I want is a relationship. So I'm thankful for you being honest with me and tell me you're not looking for that, but I want that. And since I want that, this won't work between us. They have the option of saying no to that. But when Cousin Wiley says, hey, you know what? I have so many things going on in my life right now where a relationship doesn't make sense for me. I'm dating. If something comes from that, great. If it doesn't, that's great too.
Uh-huh.
But this is what I'm looking for. You're being honest with them. So when the holidays come around and you're like, hey, no, Thanksgiving, no, stop. Christmas, no, stop. New Year's Eve, come on, let's be honest. We're not doing New Year's Eve. You know that.
Okay. So
they're not bothered by that.
Okay, so I'm clear. You're good with relationships like January through say November 1st. But when it comes to the meaningful holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, that's when you usually cut ties. If you're saying like, so you can't have a July 4th, relationship, you can't have an Easter relationship, Resurrection Sunday, can't have that.
So I'm saying no to any relationships at all. So I'm saying no to any of them because if I say yes to one, I mean I have to do the holiday stuff. So unless we graduate to that point where it's serious, there's no holidays. There's no anything meaningful. So you understand when Sweetest Day comes around, there's probably a pecking order. So you have to understand your role on this pecking order. When Valentine's Day comes around, you understand that it's probably not you. It may not be anyone at all, but you have to understand it's probably not you per se. So if you're honest, those are not issues at all. So when you have the Cousin Wiley experience, Cousin Wiley is honest with you. Cousin Wiley tells you the truth. So in the end, you have a pleasant experience. You have a great experience because in the end, like Cousin Wiley has never had a dissatisfied, and if anyone is watching, they can probably vouch for it. You've never had a dissatisfied customer where when they left the Cousin Wiley experience, it was like, oh, I hate him because he did this, he did that. No, Cousin Wiley was honest with you. Cousin Wiley told you what to expect. And if it didn't work out,
could you lay out the experience? Do you have it? Would you like to give some pointers of what your experience is? Could you do that?
Well, this is a family program, so
I don't understand. I mean, you just laid it out. You pretty much said you're about laying pipe and breaking walls. I mean, apparently. So I mean, it was not about meaningful relationships. And that's what honesty is, because there's attachment issues. Because once they get when they get the Cousin Wiley experience, and that was you talking in the third person. When they get the Cousin Wiley experience, there's attachment issues, and you don't want that. You just want to have one-offs. That's what it sounds like to me. Is that fair?
Not necessarily one-offs, but like I want you to understand the expectations of what the experience is going to be. So if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. You're able to move along and you're able to experience other things, because the biggest part of the Cousin Wiley experience is that when it ends, he wants you to leave with the dignity of being able to locate the person who is your life partner. Even if that's not me. He wants you to locate that person, so he doesn't want you to leave with low self-esteem at all. He wants you to leave feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the experience as a whole. So when you move along, you understand, like, okay, hey, he was honest. There are good guys out here who are honest, who do things the right way, who are not leading women on, in a negative fashion. Yeah.
No, that definitely not. No, absolutely not. I feel like I've seen this. There's a movie, must be the Mac. I think I've seen it. I've seen this whole thing. Kick yourself. I know I've seen this someplace. Whole thing.
Hood, you have been present in the. You have been in the presence of women who have had the Cousin Wiley experience, and none of them hate Cousin Wiley. And that's hard for women to be around, and not to have success and not to hate the person. So there's a pleasant experience. Like Cousin Wiley is good. to people, but Cousin Wiley is also honest. So I think part of the holiday experience is if you're honest with the person, you tell them, like, hey, this is what we are.
Oh my!
This is what my expectations are. If you don't like those expectations, you can do something differently. You're giving that person the option to choose. And as we all know, people like choices. They like to be able to choose, the freedom to choose. And if they choose to continue the Cousin Wiley experience, they understand what that means when the holidays roll around. They understand that means that there is nothing special about the holiday. There is no extra gifts. There is no, time spent. I'm not going to see your family. You're not going to see mine.
All right.
So just be honest.
Okay. As you can well tell, we have different drinkers in our family. When Wiley starts drinking, he is philosopher Wiley. So he's a philosopher when he drinks. Could you hold the bottle up, please? Hold that bottle up. Where are we with the old granddad? Hold this to the side so we get it, so the audience can see on YouTube. Okay, that's not bad. You've done. I think you've done enough. You'll sleep well tonight. I don't think you need it. I think as long as you keep Rocky out of it, I think it'll be fine. And speaking of Rocky, is Rocky available? He's been very quiet throughout.
Rocky.
I know Rocky learned a lot from you. Oh my God! No, learned a lot. Let me ask you a question. When you roll this back on YouTube, does Rocky see himself?
Well, he hears it, but he doesn't actually watch it most of the time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, sit.
This is so ridiculous. You talking about the Cousin Wiley experience now, because you're a star now, YouTube star, and also on podcasts. Are you making any solicitations for 2024 for the Cousin Wiley experience? Is there a PO box?
No, we're not taking any solicitations. We're just we're putting it in New Year like we bring in every New Year. We're just going with the flow.
Okay. The flow. So anyone watching, listening, you're not taking any solicitation.
Sit.
Okay. All right. Rocky, your thoughts. Rocky.
He loves the Cousin Wiley experience. I won't say why, but he loves
Why
loves experience.
Why would Rocky love that? Was he learning?
We'll also keep that PC.
Okay, that'll be fine. Well, there you go, everybody. Another edition of J Hood and Cousin Wiley. You learned so much on this show. You learned where to find your old granddad. You also learned about the Cousin Wiley experience. No holidays needed. Just be there for the Wiley experience and come and go as you please, literally, if you're pardon the expression. So for Rocky and for Cousin Wiley, this is J Hood. And again, the dog's biting you. I mean, I don't know why you allow the dog to bite your hand. It's just so ridiculous. Oh my God. I don't want to see that. So what the hell are you doing? That's not a lion. What are you doing there? He's doing universal zoo tricks now, everybody. Open the mouth of the dog. I'm not sure if that's PC. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to support us. Like, share, subscribe to our YouTube right here, youtube.com, JHood Radio. So long, everybody. So ridiculous. Goodbye, Rocky.